Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture of basic chemistry. Here are the table of contents of this series, and in today's lecture we are going to understand the topic chemical bonds. We will also learn about the biologically important elements. In the topic chemical bond there are two subtopics, that is ionic bond and covalent bond. So we are going to cover all these four. So let us start today's lesson. So first of all, let us know what are the biologically important elements. Biologically important elements means the elements which are important to living things, okay, which are important to life. So such elements are almost 26 in number, and these include six big elements, and these are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur. So these six are very essential for life. Without these, life could not be possible. Such as oxygen is very important for respiration, nitrogen fixes the temperature of our atmosphere, and many more. So except these six, there are also 20 trace element. They are considered as trace element because they are oftenly important, or we can say very important, but they are needed in very small amount. Okay, so here is a picture that I have shown to you. In this you can see some highlighted elements, right? So the elements that I have highlighted includes all the biologically important elements. You can see hydrogen in the left hand side, okay, in the first group. In that group only you can see sodium, potassium, and in second group you can see magnesium, calcium. In the middle of the periodic table you can see vicronium, chromium, magnesium. Fe means iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. Then below chromium you can see molybdenum. So these are all important trace element. In the right hand side you can see carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur. Very important, six big biologically important elements. So I have shown all the biologically important elements. You can take a look on that. Now let us move to our next important topic, that is chemical bond. So in previous lecture we have seen that electrons are transferred to one atom to another, or electrons are shared between atoms to fulfill their outermost electronic shell. So by these transfer or sharing, there happens a bond between these atoms, and this bond is called chemical bond. So the definition of chemical bond is that it is an attraction between atoms brought about by sharing of electrons between atoms, or complete transfer of electrons. Okay, so this is the definition of chemical bond. Now there are three main type of chemical bond, that is ionic bond, covalent bond, polar covalent bond. In addition, chemists also recognize some another kind of bond, that is hydrogen bond, and it is very important bond. You will study about this bond in more detail in upcoming lectures. So what happens with this chemical bond? So by this chemical bond the atoms sticks together in molecule, or we can say in crystal. Okay, they are said to be bonded with each other. A chemical bond may be visualized as the multipole balance between the positive charges in the nuclei and the negative charges oscillating about them. Negative charges means the electrons which revolve around the nuclei. Okay, so chemical bonds are very important for stiffness of crystals or molecule. This is how the molecules and compounds are made. Okay, so chemical bonds are very important. So now we have studied that this chemical bonds happens by the attraction or the repulsion, but there are some other factors also which affects the bondation of these chemicals. Okay, so this is the energy and distribution characterize the availability of electron to bond to another atom. Okay, so the energy of any electron or how it is distributed in the orbital means we all know that electrons revolve around the nuclei in a certain energy shell, and in that energy shells there are some orbitals in which the electrons are present. So the distribution of electrons in that orbital and the energy of that electron in that particular time also determines the chemical bond. Okay, so all these are the factors which affects the bonding between the atom. So a chemical bond, we know that it can be a covalent, ionic or hydrogen bond, and also it can be just one it can be just by the van der Waals forces. Okay, and these bonds have some potential, and these potential create the interaction which hold atoms together in molecules, or we can say crystal. Okay, these bonds should have some potential to make the atoms hold together. Okay, so in many simple compounds, the valence bond theory, the VSEPR model, that is valence shell electron pair repulsion model, the concept of oxidation number, these can be used to explain the molecular structure and composition. All right, so the theories of classical physics also describes the ionic structures. So this is about the introduction of chemical bond. The terms such as VSEPR, valence bond theory, oxidation number, ionic structure, we will discuss all these terms in upcoming classes. Okay, don't get tensed by seeing such a heavier words. Now we have studied the introduction of chemical bonds, how they are interacted, how they are made. Now let us understand their variety. I said that there are 3 or 4 kinds of chemical bond. Now let us understand the first kind, that is ionic bond. So here you can see a picture in which there is a sodium atom and a chlorine atom. Some electron is going towards chlorine. So what does this picture is depicting? So what are ionic bonds? Ionic bond arise from elements with low electronegativity. That means the atoms which have almost empty outer shell. Okay, they react with element with high electronegativity. That means mostly the atoms which have full outer shell. Okay, outer electronic cell, it have almost full shell. So the bond arises between these two kinds. For example, in this case we have sodium, which is a low electronegative atom, and chlorine, which have high electronegativity, and chlorine wants one electron from sodium, and sodium will give that one electron to chlorine. Now you can see there is a plus charge on sodium. Why? Because now after releasing of one electron, the number of proton in sodium is increased, and chlorine is negative because now the number of electron in chlorine atom is increased. Okay, that's why they are having positive and negative charge, and because of this opposite charge there is a static electricity between them because they are oppositely charged, and they are now connected to each other, and this is the ionic bond. Okay, this whole Na plus and Cl minus is called salt, the table salt, or in chemistry we say sodium chloride. Okay, so this is the example of ionic bond in which sodium gives its one electron to chlorine to make chlorine outermost electron fill. Okay, so this is all for this lecture. Now let's discuss the objective questions. So first is, which among these is biologically important element? So we have oxygen, sulfur, phosphorus, and D option, all of the above. So all of the above is the right answer because all these three are biologically important element. We have just discussed that. Now, next question is, which kind of bond is present in sodium chloride? So we all know that sodium have positive charge on it and chlorine have negative charge on it, and they are oppositely attracted towards each other and make the ionic bond because there is a transfer of one whole electron to chlorine. So the answer is B, option B, ionic bond. So in this lecture we have covered all these topic. Thank you so much for watching this lesson.